Hey, gentlemen, let me ask you this: is that if I go back for a minute to a comment that you made, Daniel, about hey, the cost just gets passed on to the customer, right? That's interesting. Let's talk for a minute about customer excellence, all right? Is it what are the factors that you would consider to be how does an MRO deliver customer excellence to their customer? What does that mean to an MRO?
Well, based on my experience and running an MRO shop in Shenzhen in China, the idea of customer excellence was always important for us. And what does it mean? We it's quite clear. It's adhering to the TAT or even to an on-time performance. It's just make it possible for the customer to plan with your output. Right. So it doesn't bring anything if you promise a TAT of, let's say, 5 days, and then in the end, it'll take them 10, 20, 30 days. So it is, I think a customer can rather live with, let's say, instead of saying 5 days TAT, I'll give it, but I have an on-time performance of 10 days guaranteed at 99%. So, but then stick to the 10 days, because that's the way how the customer then can plan its operations. And that's where I guess the customer excellence element comes in. So the question is really about the performance of the organization, but then everything else comes into place: communication, and obviously quality of the quote and all that kind of stuff. And especially communication is, where's my part? Which process is a part? How quickly and swift are we in communication in terms of quotation, return quotation, maybe parts requirements or discrepancies, whatever it is. Basically to have that information available on hand as soon as you can. So that's my takeaway of that.
No, really very good. So what I heard you say is that number one is that being able to deliver aircraft on time or as promised, okay, and to do it predictably ends up being a critical, important part of success, as well as having good communication. And it's amazing on how the expectations that we have today of turnaround time are so important. When I mean turnaround time, I mean like turnaround of communications, for example. Okay, so the expectations are that we have rapid communication, exactly, and that we have rapid responses, and that we have real-time data and information, and we deliver as promised. I mean, I think that's what I just heard you say equals customer excellence. Is that at least one component of it? Okay, yeah, hey Nick, let me come back to you. Is it how do IT systems enable people to be able to provide better customer excellence?
Yeah, I think, meeting the SLA, right? So, tracking that from, start to finish, as well as, communication. I think if a customer can come into and see, for themselves, and come into, the system, actually say what phase it's at, where it's at in the system, does it need additional approvals or additional parts needed? Is there, additional manpower, whatever the case may be. Ramco, we actually have a suite that is a customer portal, and it basically allows a customer to come in and look at every kind of transaction, everything that's happening within their like their engines or components, anything that's coming in, their overall maintenance, if it's in for, an inspection. So that's really one big thing, is just being able to see that, visualize it, understand it, and get real-time information. That's the biggest key in this.
Yeah, very good. One thing that I've seen and I've heard from a lot of different people in the industry over the last year and a half is the importance of paying attention to your customer, giving customer excellence, because they're having a problem right now, just like you are. And if you don't help them, and if they end up not being able to satisfy the demands of their business, and you're not helping them to do that, then you're just going to end up parting ways. In the end, they'll find a different MRO, or they'll find a different, IT system and solution where people can be flexible to help them. And so, I hear what you're saying, and providing customer portals and rapid response and delivering as promised, those are all really critical components of customer excellence.
Yeah, and if I may add to that, I mean, the recovery in aviation, if we call it, down the road, will make it even more difficult in terms of competition, right? Because everybody's scrambling to get the business into their shops, into their hangars. So I expect that there will be a price war. I mean, it was already quite challenging, but moving forward, airlines are more cost weary, and they need to recover their cost base. So, and availability of hangar space. So there will be a natural, the competition will be stronger. And if you as an organization can provide that customer excellence with a great backbone, with a great setup of IT systems, then you have an add-on which probably does not cost you a lot more.
Yeah, I think we need to pay really good attention to that, Daniel. I think you're right, because we have a new set of operating rules that we're operating against right now. And a good example of that is just this last week, there was a disruption in the U.S. It was just a thunderstorm, and I say just a thunderstorm, but the end result is that a multiple number of airlines in the southeast part of the United States canceled flights and left passengers stranded for almost 4 days, almost 5 days. They equated it to a hurricane recovery. Now, why did that happen? Because everybody's operating on such razor thin margins of capability right now, of support and of people. And the disruptions that we have right now can have a bigger impact. And so it's important that we give ourselves greater margins for error in our systems and our solutions and things like that, because we're having to operate at different levels of efficiency than what we did before. It's really clear that that's happening out there, in the industry.